along with everyone else, watched you during the Olympics. Was one of the most inspiring performances. And then for me, it just felt so real and so raw. And even you yourself said you'd won 3 gold medals before, but this one meant more than all of them. Why?
Well, this last Olympics we watched bronze. Did anyone watch the Olympics? Anyone watch beach volleyball? Yeah, good. So I wasn't lying. Yeah, I didn't misspeak when I said that. Bronze, golds are golds. Someone is like, is bronze a new gold? I'm like, absolutely not. Bronze is bronze. However, my thoughts have certainly changed on winning a bronze medal. Literally, it was such a magical Olympics, and we hit the semifinal match. I played like total crap. Like athlete's worst nightmare, show up, you're on the big stage, and you don't show up. My heart was there, my head was there, I just wasn't executing. Total devastation that night to have to turn around to fight for another day to live for the bronze medal. And we won, and we overcame, and we finished with a triumph. And to me, as an athlete, I'm a big believer in the law of attraction. I'm a big believer in focusing on the positive and at all times, even when you're down in the dumps. And for me, to get a chance to fight for the bronze medal became something I need to put my money where my mouth is. I preach these things, let me live it now, and let me not cower away from the situation that I put myself in. Let me rise to the occasion. It became a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I mean, I thought it was incredible. How did it compare for you to the first time, the second time, the third time?
Yeah. I've been to 5 Olympics. I started my first Olympics, I was 22 years old. I played on an indoor team, and it never, ever gets old. Ever. Representing USA, playing my sport, fighting for my dreams. But truly, I learned this about probably my 3rd Olympics. It was all about work and winning a gold medal, and every day my head was down, and I stopped enjoying the journey. And my last 2 Olympics, I've made it really my emphasis, my focus to live every day, to win a gold medal every day, along eventually, hopefully, winning a gold medal in the Olympics. And so my 5th Olympics was so special, just as all the previous 4 had been. And you always want to win your last match. We won our last match. It was amazing. We stood on the podium. It wasn't the top, but it felt, like the top to us for that moment. And again, it was just, I learned so much in that loss. I mean, I think we just heard it. You learn so much when you're down in the dumps, and you learn what you're about. And for me, it's a chance to look in the mirror and, say, what do you got, kid? And I learned a lot, and we came back and won. And I'm surrounded by great people who helped me chase my dreams, and that's a big part of it, too.
And did you take time to actually enjoy it? Because I know you came back and you were right back out on the road on the volleyball tour.
No, I'm so tired. Oh, my goodness gracious. I love my job. I just got back from Toronto. We had our last tournament of the year. Literally the weekend after. We won the bronze, I think, on a Saturday. Got home. We started playing on the next Wednesday for a world tour event. So no, but that's the life of an athlete, and I love it. And I was just talking to my dear friend, like, I'm glad that it doesn't end at the Olympics. Because when you have a 4-year focus and then all of a sudden it's done, you're like, what do I do? I need to focus. And so it was nice to kind of transition out, and now off season has begun, so look out.
Right.
It's time to kick off my heels.
Let's talk about you growing up. You grew up in a household where both your parents were athletes.
Yes.
Yeah. So what was that? I mean, did they want you to be an athlete? Did they say, here's a ball, you should be playing with this, you're tall, you should play volleyball, or did you just gravitate towards...
We've bred you for this.
That's right, yeah, exactly.
I'm one of 5 kids. My mother's one of 8, my father's one of 4, all athletes. My grandparents were athletes. They're in the Hall of Fame places. So I grew up in a competitive environment, in a very, very loving environment of athletes. And so my life literally revolved around family, sports, and school. Those are like and faith. Those are the 4 pillars of my life, and nothing has changed. And I'm 38 years old now. So I wasn't forced to do it. I was absolutely around my parents playing even when I was younger, and I loved watching them compete because there was so much joy and intensity, and they did it as a family. And so I just gravitated toward it. And then when I started competing and getting better and better, they were there every step of the way,
What does winning mean to you? Having won, because just to kind of set you guys up, she is the winningest beach volleyball player in the history of beach volleyball. 100 for now.
Which I don't like that distinction, but
for now. 111, is that the total?
I think you're a little shy, but I have no
121?
It's 100
plus, but it's 100 plus.
Yes.
Yeah, more winnings than any other woman.
Yeah, winning is amazing. Yeah. Winning's addicting. I mean, you're going to have Sir Charles out here, and he's going to tell you, but winning is a beautiful thing in life. It's certainly, I feel like that's what I'm paid to do, is to win. If I don't win, I don't get paid. So I got to do it. But to me, winning is doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And, I've certainly won tournaments where I was like, I was a total asshole all tournament, excuse my language. Or I was a jerk to my partner, winner, or, you know, I just didn't execute the right way. Like, I want to win the right way and I want to lose the right way.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, Rio was an example of all of that. You know, the highs of winning, the lows of losing. And ideally, you have grace and integrity, you know, all the while.
Yeah. Your kids were there.
No, they weren't.
Oh, they weren't there. They weren't at the Olympics.
No,
So,
you know.
So how was it for you being a parent? What do you instill in your children when it comes to competitiveness, to be a good winner, but more importantly, to be a good loser? As a competitive person, how do you instill that in your children?
Well, our kids, we have 2 boys and a girl, Joey, Sundance, and Scout, 7, 6, and 3. And right now, I mean, they're just literally starting AYSO. So they're very new to the game. They do jiu-jitsu, they do certain things, but we absolutely encourage that competitiveness. If they do it, they have to do it with a good attitude. When they got a bad attitude, they're whiny, they're out of the game. You know, if we're playing backyard soccer, whatever it is. And they usually
They get a penalty in the backyard.
Exactly. You got a red card, kid, get out. Usually they're way whinier on, you know, our back home court than they are out in the real field. And, you know, they watch us. I think my husband plays professional volleyball as well. And we always want to ideally show them what we do, you know, bring them to tournaments and have them watch us win and lose and struggle and watch us practice and train and everything that it takes to get to Sunday, you know, to the winning day. But no, I don't know. I haven't really had to step in too much. My husband's the one that cracks the whip, but our kids are just kids, you know, they're little punks, and I love that about them. I don't want them to be perfect. I want them to learn, you know, what's right and wrong on their own, but we're certainly there to guide. But they're good kids.
Are they already saying that they want to be volleyball players when they grow up?
No, actually. my boy Sundance goes, "Mommy, why do you play in your underwear?" And I'm shocked we haven't got to the got to the uniform question. I'm like, honey, it's performance attire. Come on. No, they're starting to really get into volleyball, but they like sports. You know, they really are. They're just true kids. They like art. They like music. You know, they like a lot of things. And for me, people always ask, are you going to push your kids towards sports? And I think they'll naturally gravitate toward it, and we'll support that. But anything that's kind of the team mindset, being in a band, you know, being in an atmosphere where you have to collaborate and communicate, and everything that I've learned about success in life has come within the team, you know, kind of atmosphere, and I want that for my kids.
How does that the transition from the indoor game to the outdoor game? What was that transition like for you, where you're going from a team to where now it's you and one other person?
It was glorious.
Yeah.
It was so humbling in so many ways. I played at Stanford University, which was an amazing experience in itself, like my first big dream come true. But when you're playing indoor volleyball, you're one of the herd. You know, you're one of 12 to 14 athletes, and you can't make up your own mind. You're like following the herd, which kind of naturally led me to when I was, you know, after I graduated Stanford, I was like, I want a little more freedom, a little more autonomy. And that's why I love beach volleyball so much, because it's you and your partner against the world. I'm not an individual sport athlete. I really like high fives and hugs, and I like the collaboration.
Yeah.
And so
that was one of my favorite things, were the hugs and the high fives that you gave to every single person in the arena. Like, for those of you who didn't see her on the beach volleyball game, after every game she would run around and high five every single ball guy, the referees.
They're rad.
You hugged them all. I mean, it was incredible.
Well, they helped me do my job. I don't want to shag that ball.
Yeah.
You know, so no, I was so grateful. But no, people are really wonderful in our sport, and I'm just really grateful to be, you know, chasing my dreams in such a great atmosphere. And love is is my why. I do it because I love it, and I want to keep growing. And so high fives and hugs are good.
So you love it. How much longer can you do it? I mean, I guess the beauty of the beach game is it does give you the ability to play for longer than, I guess, in the indoor game.
Absolutely. So I'm 38 years old, and I feel like I'm so far from done. My husband and I just got in a fight the other day because he's like, "You really love this, right?" He's like, 4 more years, I don't know. And I was like, "Really? Like, come on, we can do it."
And when you're playing at that level, though, I mean, you're still so
I'm
competitive.
still getting better.
Yeah, and you're getting
better. You know, if I thought I maxed out, which I don't think it's possible to max out in life, I would stop. But I feel like as long as, you know, I will sit down with my husband and my kids, and as long as my husband's in it, my kids accept it, I might have 4 more years in me, but I'm not done yet. I'm going to take it year by year, but I love it. Yeah.
So a lot of people look at you as a hero as you come back, 4-time Olympic medalist, one of only 2 people to be a 4-time All-American volleyball player. So who were your heroes when you were young and watching this game? Or sports in general? Like, who did you really admire?
Well, my parents, for sure. I mean, I just got to say that. My mom is she's a peanut of our family. She's 5'7", but she plays like she's 9 feet tall. She just has the heart of a champion. And my father's 6'8", and he's the most graceful, fluid athlete I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Baseball pitcher and basketball player. But I just, I grew up in the 80s. Jordan, Charles. The dream team was literally why I wanted to go to the Olympics. And I picked number 9 in high school because Jordan wore number 9 in the Olympics. And Mia Hamm eventually, came on my radar. And now I'm just inspired by the little kids who are kicking ass, the older, people who have no limits. The Paralympics were just on, and there's just so many stories that are just out of control in every atmosphere. I know this whole conference is about people who are game changers and who see no limits in the world, and I just am really inspired by all of that, obviously.
When I have to ask you, as an Olympic athlete who was there, as an American, when you're watching what was happening and everything was going on with Ryan Lochte and how we felt. I mean, as I'm watching this and I'm like, this is the worst thing I can imagine happening right now, because suddenly we are that ugly American. And I feel like the way he represented us as a country, I was really offended by and upset by. As an athlete, while you're there having the time of your life, as did multiple athletes, I mean, what were you thinking when this was all happening?
To be honest, I just didn't even pay attention. I'm like, that's a young man who made a mistake and he's going to pay for it. And unfortunately, it tarnished America for a minute, but I don't think we need to live in it. I think we all learned a lesson from him. Don't get drunk and be stupid. And tell the truth. I mean, period.
When you go to the Olympics, that's what all the coaches are going to be saying now. Listen,
I mean,
don't get drunk and be stupid.
When you're walking down the street, don't get drunk and be stupid. But it's unfortunate because the Olympics, nothing is pristine in life. And nothing is, above all the politics of this world. But the Olympics are pretty wonderful, and it's such a beautiful unifier. And so it's lame when something like that happens to bring it down. But I just would rather not acknowledge it and move on. No, he's not a terrible person. He made a terrible mistake, but he can go on Dancing with the Stars and hopefully redeem himself. And we'll all be better for it.
What did your kids say when you got home and you saw them?
Mommy, we didn't win gold. I said, I know, kids, I'm sorry. 4 more years, kids. They're like, no.
and your husband's like, no.
Let's talk first. No, they did say that. But they're like, Mommy, well, I don't even know what they said because that's all I heard. But there was just so much love.
Everything else after that was wah, wah, wah,
I know.
Wah, wah.
But, it's like the bronze medal is such a beautiful thing, and I don't want to defend it because it really is a beautiful thing, and it's just.
You got a podium.
Damn it.
Yeah.
It's just is going to sting me forever because why couldn't I pass that ball, It's just one of those things. But I'm still in the game, and again, you just got to fight back. And as an athlete, you don't always have your best game, and sometimes you have a really shitty game, and you have to come back from that. And when you're down there, it just highlights your weaknesses. And so I'm going to say thank you for that semifinal match because it's going to take me up here eventually.
What advice do you give? 'Cause I'm sure there's plenty of young people, just like when you were young and you would meet your heroes, when they see you and they come up to you at volleyball clinics or camps and they say, what can I do? What advice do you give young people who want to be you in 5 years, 10 years?
Well, if they say I want to be like you, I say be better than me, first and foremost. And secondly, I think my advice to anyone who's chasing a big dream or wants to go somewhere in life or have a beautiful life is just go all in. Don't hedge your bets. Go in with all your heart, and it's body, mind, and spirit. At the highest level of anything, for me, it's physicality. Everyone's very physical in our game.
Yeah.
Some people are afraid to put their hearts on the line, and they're afraid to be vulnerable. They're never going to get up there. And I feel like that's true for every arena, whether you're a doctor, musician, performer, whatever you are, you got to go all in. And then it's literally impossible to fail. You always get bronze, worst case.
So talk about the training schedule. Talk about the work that goes into getting to the Olympics or getting to the level of which you play.
Well, my season generally, I start traveling in March.
Yeah.
Just finished. So end of middle of September we're done. So that's a very long competing season. I travel around the world to every oh my God, help me out here, continent, except for Africa.
Yeah.
And I train, my job is to train. So I do a lot of weight training. I do a lot of Pilates. I do a lot of brain training. I work with my sports psychologist. I'm just in it. I work out. I do 2 to 3 workouts a day, and rest and recovery is a huge part of what I do as well. I've learned that in my older age. You got to, as much as you beat yourself up, you got to rest and recover, which means you got to feel yourself right. You got to sleep. All those things that we don't like to do for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's my job to be fit. and it's an amazing job. I don't want to hang it up.
Right. How much of the game is physical versus mental from your point of view?
At my level,
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, that sounded so egotistical. At the Olympic level, once you're there, like I said, everyone is physical. Everyone is really gnarly.
Yeah.
I'm not the fastest, the strongest, the tallest, the quickest. I got a huge heart, and I got a lot of capacity up here. So I think mental is at the highest level. It's got to be 90% of it.
Yeah.
I mean, minimum. It's just you have to be resilient. You have to be optimistic. You have to be vulnerable. You have to during the matches with April in the Olympics. I have to have the confidence in my teammate and in myself enough to say, I need help. Like, let me lean on you. And that therefore raises my partner up, and it empowers her. And then eventually I'm up there with her, and we're kicking butt. So it's just the mental and the emotional side of a performance is huge.
You have a room full of incredibly gifted, talented overachievers.
I do.
Give them some advice on how to achieve more.
Oh, hell. Well, I wish I would have listened to all you guys speak. I don't know. I think that the key to living a good life is to find your joy, and whatever you're doing, find joy in it. I know not every day can be roses and butterflies and rainbows. I absolutely know that. But after those dark days, you got to look for that. And I feel like if you find joy, if you put your heart into what you're going for, you're going to get there, and you're going to change the world. But yeah, I think bite-sized pieces is really important. If you try to swallow the whole elephant all at once, you're in trouble. And then stay optimistic, because it's just, if you have a choice, optimism or the other way, why not? It'll take you places.
Ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Kerri Walsh Jennings.
Thank you.